They're in the news again. Neighbors from hell. And no matter who you are or where you live, bad neighbors can turn your daily life into a nightmare.
Are you ready for a show?
Whether loud and unruly or mean and unreasonable, next-door nuisances, like the ones in the movie Neighbors, can make your life a living hell.
Just wanted to say welcome to the hood.
You're welcome.
Also, if you could maybe just...
Keep it down.
Norman Resnickow lives in a New York City apartment one floor below Justin Thoreau. Both claiming the other is the neighbor from hell, they're now in court suing each other over noise, harassment, and trespassing.
He didn't give a damn about the people who live downstairs.
Another celeb who's been in court with a neighbor from hell, Kathy Griffin. She tried and failed to get a restraining order against Jeffrey Metzger, who she claimed threw trash in the yard of her $5 million LA property and went on an obscenity-laden tirade against Griffin and her boyfriend.
You and Kathy. You're not our neighbor. You're a asshole.
Metzger countered with an attempt to get a restraining order against Griffin, but that too was denied just last week. Oscar nominee Minnie Driver has been in an unending feud with Hollywood Hills neighbor Daniel Perlmutter, who has his own set of complaints.
Clean this mess up or I'll call the police, okay?
Oh, sure. She has lost control of herself.
But it's not just celebrities with neighbor woes. In Tomball, Texas, Dallas Rose Lott was charged with criminal mischief for vandalizing Rodrigo Camus's neighboring townhouse, spray painting the windows, gluing the lock shut, and covering the doorknobs in duct tape. And instead of harming his neighbor's property,
he said, "Get the hell out of the way or I'm going to run you over."
Paul Bennett aimed his tractor straight at Scott Lund, plowing right into him, along with the snow he wanted Scott to remove.
He slammed into me with the tractor and slid me back into the post.
But in Washington State, what Van Davis's neighbor did tops it all.
A guy with a bulldozer that just come onto my property, knocked my fence down, and knocked my house down,
making him the ultimate neighbor from hell.
And Dr. Phil joins us now. So, Dr. Phil, what's going on here, and what's behind this unneighborly behavior?
Well, Jesse, that's a good question. And fortunately, this is the exception, not the rule, because most people are neighborly and they watch each other's houses and they help each other out. But here's the thing. When you occupy a place, certainly when you buy a place, one of the rights that you have is for the peaceful occupation of your property. And when some people feel like that's being encroached upon, when they feel like that's being threatened, they get really territorial. And if they feel like they have to defend, it can really escalate, because that's usually somebody's most valuable asset is their home.
All right, so what is the best way to de-escalate a bad neighbor situation before it comes to blows?
You know, if you're the one being harassed, you really want to de-escalate this before it gets out of hand, Jesse, because, listen, it doesn't take much for you to get into property damage, and then it doesn't take much for that to get into actual personal injury. And the best thing you can do to de-escalate this is just don't respond. But one of the things you want to do in case this does continue is stay within the system. Document, document, document. And I don't ever think it's a good idea to be too quick to involve the authorities. But if you do think it's getting out of hand, you want to create a paper trail, file a police report. And if that doesn't do it, then you have to ask for a restraining order. But stay within the system, because if you start retaliating, pretty soon you become the defendant.
And Dr. Phil, it seems like in a lot of the cases, the behavior just seems compulsive with battles that are going on for years. Why can't people just let things go? Why can't they stop?
You know, sometimes people do get locked into these battles and they can go on for years. And it's simply because people get tunnel vision. So I just encourage people to take a step back, don't respond, focus on something else for 30 days, and you might look back and go, wow, I was sure spending a lot of time and energy on that.
As always, Dr. Phil, thanks for being with us. And be sure to catch the Dr. Phil Show weekdays. Make sure you check your local listings for times.